Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Sweet and Sour Soccer. I'm not comfy one moment. This is another episode of Transfer Talk, and while the Euros are still on, there's a lot of transfers. I want to start off with Billy Gilmour. Billy Gilmour, who's been in the news regarding obviously Mason Mount and Luke Shaw not playing, but has also shined for, or shined for Scotland. Apparently, he's tipped for a loan move to Norwich for this season. I like this. They've lost Buendia. I think he could be a big player for them.
Yeah, I agree. And apparently they've been battling with a number of Premier League clubs. Apparently, our club Wolves being one of them. It's a weird situation, isn't it, with Billy Gilmour? I mean, he's probably going to play that kind of Kante role, but at the moment, Kante's showing no signs of stopping, is he? I think in
No.
30, he's one of them for me. He could probably go for another 4 or 5 years. So a low move, get him some experience. Obviously, playing in that defensive mid role for a side like Norwich, who are probably going to have to defend a lot, you would think. Yeah, I think it would be a great transfer for him and both Norwich, and they're making some very shrewd transfers themselves, obviously after losing Buendia. So yeah, but really does suit both parties for me. I'm moving on from that. I suppose we'll go on to the big one that's coming out today. Arsenal, 50 million for Ben White. I imagine that's going to be part up front, probably some add-ons and stuff. But what
Arsenal,
do you
yeah.
make of that one? What do you make of it? Because for me, 50 million, it sounds almost like a 10 million English tax here. It
That's
does
all it
sound
is.
like quite a bit to me.
I'm sorry, but Ben White's a good player. If Ben White is more than £20 million, 25 million, I don't think I'm being unrealistic there. I think he's almost doubled in value because he went to the Euros. For me, he's a good defender. Is he £50 million? God, that got you Zidane. Now it's Ben White. Jesus.
Yeah.
Let's move on to a transfer. Let's actually stay on Arsenal because there's talk still going on between Arsenal and Roma over the signing of Granit Xhaka. Both clubs are a little bit off on their valuation. Arsenal want a bit more, but both clubs have said they think the deal will go through. So Xhaka probably will leave Arsenal before the window's out. Should we come
Yeah.
on to DCL? Because I know you wanted to talk about him. You wanted him to start for England against Scotland, didn't you? So he's been linked away from Everton, and it ties in very nicely again.
Yeah, it does. It's an interesting one, this. So Arsenal are potential suitors. Arsenal
Yeah.
are apparently going to be looking for a new striker. Both Lacazette and Nketiah are going to potentially be allowed to leave. Bit of an odd one because I always think, you've got good wingers in Saka and Pepe. Could you not play Saka, Pepe, and Aubameyang returning to that forward position? But away from that, they've been linked to Isaac, who's obviously or Isaac, I think it might be pronounced, is doing very well for Sweden. And
Yeah.
because of that, we know when people do well for, in the Euros, that adds 10 or 20 million onto the price tag. So because of that, the deal for him is looking less favourable. Let's just say they're going to have to pay a lot more. And apparently the next target is going to be DCL, which, great signing for me if Arsenal can get him. But I don't know, would he leave Everton? It'd be an interesting one. I wouldn't write it off completely, but I
I
think they'll
think
probably have to pay a bit for him, put it that way.
I think they would, and Arsenal love to have add-ons. I do believe they would. I mean, Arsenal aren't the team they were, but they're a more attractive proposition than Arsenal. And it could take another 2 or 3 years, I think, to get Everton Stadium up and running. Or maybe 18 months. So it's not like he's going to be playing there next season. But you wouldn't turn down Arsenal from Everton, I think. I mean, maybe Leicester, but not Everton. No disrespect. But they'll need to keep a hold of DCL if they want to carry on because I think he is a slightly underrated on the ball. He's not just a tall man in the box. So if Everton keep him, that'd be good. If Arsenal do get him, that'd be a great signing, especially with the pace of Saka, Aubameyang, and Pepe. As you mentioned. Let's move on to another. Well, we've got two Wolves stories. Quickly, Roma are still pursuing Rui Patricio, who what a save he made against the Germans. If you watched that last night, he had a very good game. And another one. Tarkowski from Burnley. You brought this up to me. I haven't seen it anywhere.
Yeah, so quickly on the Patricio one. So Patricio,
Yeah,
that's been going on for a while, but apparently there is a small caveat to that. But Bruno Lage really wants to keep him. He's on the last year of his contract, so I think the Patricio one, if he doesn't sign a new contract, he'll probably be, they'll probably let him go because of financial reasons. But yeah, the other one, Tarkowski, apparently he's been linked to a number of Premier League clubs. Wolves being interested in him.
yeah,
Only got 12 months left on his contract, so
yeah,
Burnley aren't going to want to. We know English defenders. I mean, take Ben White, 50 million. You think Tarkowski, even with a year left on his contract, will go for a good sum of money, especially for a club like Burnley. And I suppose to make it even more realistic in a way is that they've signed Nathan Collins from Stoke, a promising centre back. You wonder if that centre back partnership is that to create a really good centre back partnership, or is that because they expect Tarkowski to leave? So that's going to be an interesting one. But Nathan Collins himself, really promising signing for Burnley.
yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't say would you take Tarkovsky. He's a good player. But would you be aiming your sights a tad higher with no disrespect to him? Or would you snap him?
I think he's a
Snap him
very
up?
underrated defender, in my opinion. I think he would be good for us. Obviously a club like Wolves, others in that mid-table region, probably like not mid-table, trying to push for the European places, maybe like your Evertons, and that probably would take him. So, yeah, there's a reason a number of Premier League clubs are after him. So an interesting one to, I suppose, watch out for. But moving on from that, another one that concerns a Premier League club in that they've lost out to the man. They've lost out on the man. Hakimi has apparently now signed for PSG. It looks like that's going to go through. Of course, in our last transfer talk, he was a key target to Chelsea. So that'll be interesting because we knew that at one point they were looking at Adama Traore as a right
Yeah,
wing back potentially, but Hakimi, I said, was a much more
yeah.
attractive right wing back position. But while their interests now go back to Adama Traore, now they've lost out on him. So that's one I suppose it could affect both clubs, both Chelsea and Wolves.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Do you think that's do you think that's feasible?
It's feasible. I think it'll cost a bit, but it'll be feasible.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. To be fair, moving over to Manchester United, and Paul Pogba has told the media that talks between himself and the club are still ongoing over a new contract. His deal runs out next summer, but he has said that he's solely focused on France. Yada yada yada. Everything you expect a player to say when they're playing for their country at a tournament. But I don't see it. I don't see him either getting a new deal or leaving this summer. I think he'll run his contract down over the next 12 months. Free agent, a free Paul Pogba. God, that could get him 400 grand a week in wages with a nice 20, 30 million pound signing on fee. A bit like, I mean, Man United paid, was it 30 million just to Sanchez 5 years ago, was
Yeah.
it? To get him. So what could Pogba be for a PSG, a Real Madrid? I think you agreed with me, didn't you, that you don't see Pogba actually trying to force a move out this summer or even getting another deal.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend whether United have an option on Pogba to extend by a year, which I don't know if they do, or if this is truly his last 12 months. But if it is, I definitely just see him running down his contract. Maybe 2 years to go, maybe he will have a little more of a think about it. But if 12 months to go, I agree, he'll run down his contract. Another United link. We've been going on about this for probably ever since we started our transfer talk feature, so I won't spend any more than 10 seconds on it. Sancho to United, perhaps the most boring transfer story, which has been going on for 2 years, is now pretty much done. We all know it's going to be done. It's just a matter of time.
Yep. Patson Daka, heavily linked to Leicester. Liverpool, I think, have pulled out on this because they've got a few more alternatives that they want to look at. But Patson Daka is only 22 and he plays for Salzburg, obviously, who Eric Haaland, Erlen Haaland played for. I think he scored something like 54 goals in about 82 games over there. He's only 22 years of age, and he scores goals with his head. He's strong, he's quick, and we know Leicester are the kings of transfers, no matter what country you're in. So if you're a Leicester fan, I'd be very excited about this. I've seen a few video clips of him on YouTube, and he does look the part, and he's young. He really does look like a Vardy replacement. So I'd be very excited if that one comes to fruition.
Yeah, same with that. I was just going to quickly say that looks an exciting signing.
He does.
Again, watched a bit on him, and also, he's one of those common FIFA players that you sign because of his age, and his potential always goes up through the roof and becomes a great player after 4 or 5 years. But you mentioned there Liverpool were previously linked to them as well. Well, apparently they're now looking at a potentially John McGinn, which has come around as a bit of a surprise, but you could potentially see it, couldn't you? I mean, he wouldn't cost as much.
50 million, I've seen. £50 million I've seen the figure. Fuck that.
Yeah, you're not making. I'm not. I've got to be honest. I'm not sure what I rate McGinn at. Maybe probably 10 million less than that.
How old is John McGinn? How old is he?
I don't think he's that old. He's about 20.
26.
I was going to say 25 or 6, but obviously,
50 million. I don't know. For me, I don't know. I mean, they have spent a similar amount on like Keita, who flopped. So at least McGinn's played in the Premier League. Could be a replacement for. God, I've had a nightmare today. Fabinho. Jesus, Scott, call it a day. I'm off my tits here.
Yeah, there we go. So that's another transfer talk. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching this and you've made it to the end, please hit that like button, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.